I'm always an adrenaline junkie. When I was 12 years old, I had a brain aneurysm. And when you're 12 years old, you really don't know what that means. I started to have a stroke. My mouth started to draw down, and the nurse said, "Mrs. Griffith, I think something's really wrong with Darin." But then after that, when I got home, my parents didn't know what was wrong, and I became paralyzed. They took me to the hospital, and they did a lot of tests, and they said, "This kid has an aneurysm, a brain aneurysm." You know, my parents basically, they kind of let me make my own decisions, like, well, what are you going to do? And I was like, well, let's do it, So we did this, and thank God I'm here. And that's when the new Darin was born.
Welcome to this week's episode of American Real, where we bring you the story of Darren Griffith, who at the age of 12 had a health scare from which doctors gave him only 10 years to live. Nearly 3 decades later, Darren has been thriving and says that's when the new Darin was born. 11 years ago, he started an apparel business, promoting it in an unorthodox way through fashion shows at rock bars, rodeos, and getting celebrity support from actors to band members to rock his shirts. His company, Paragon, is built after its defined name, a model of excellence. So sit back and relax as I welcome Mr. Darren Griffith. This is American Real. I am Roger Brooks. My guest today is Darren Griffith. You are a small town boy with big dreams who settles for nothing less than perfection, wanting to take ordinary and turn it into extraordinary. Darren, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here, Roger.
This is great, and I really appreciate you making the trip this morning. And I'm just curious, what do you think about upstate New York? What's your first impression?
I love it. It was a long ride. We thought it would be longer, but we got here at like 8 o'clock in the morning. So we thought there would be traffic, but no traffic at all.
And you had a time to look at the area a little bit?
Yes, a lot of mountains around here, so yeah.
Well, excellent, and I can't wait to get into your story today. There's so much to talk about. I want to know a lot about Paragon. I mean, how you started it, where it came from. What was your initial mission with this? And explain explain to us what it is.
So Paragon is a model of excellence or perfection. I used to work at a bank, and I got tired working at a bank. I was doing very well at a bank. I was working as a collections manager, and I came up with this idea of a woman's silhouette that you can probably see here on my shirt. It's half of a woman's silhouette, and that to me is perfect. It's perfection. I love lines on a Porsche. So all of that is, I came up with this, and I was trying to figure out a name for it. And a woman at my work said, go to thesaurus.com. So I went there, I Googled perfection, and Paragon came up, a model of excellence or perfection. That is how I came up with Paragon. The first time I did, every design that I do, it all comes from me. Every shirt has a meaning that I do.
And that's really interesting. I love that backstory, because a lot of times we don't know how people come up with names to things. So you did something that someone suggested you do. You go to thesaurus.com. You're looking for the names, and as soon as you saw that name, did you know?
Absolutely. At first, I wanted it like Prince did, the artist. But you have to have brand recognition first,
right,
to do it. But yeah, as soon as I saw it, I mean, that to me was it. A model of excellence or perfection.
And is the company built entirely around apparel?
Yes, it is.
And what was the mission? So what was your idea? It went from a thought to an idea, and then you put it into action, right? So how did all that come to be?
Well, I started to do T-shirts, and at that time it was MySpace, and I put it on MySpace, and people started texting me, and they liked the shirts. A lot of girls liked the shirts, and then I got to thinking, wow, I could really do something with this. And I was still working at the bank, and all of a sudden I came up with this idea for the Paragon Girls, and I was like, well, yeah, let's do that. And then so I started with, I started sending people free shirts. In this business, that's what you do. You spend a lot of money on getting shirts out there and having people promote it. And it's awesome when famous people promote it for you. I'm always an adrenaline junkie, because I don't know, I'd have to go back to when I was 12 years old. I had a brain aneurysm. And when you're 12 years old, you really don't know what that means. And it's where they injected a balloon into my carotid artery to stop the aneurysm from growing. And the doctor said, the doctor gave me the best piece of advice I've ever learned. And this is kind of what started everything for me. Don't die a second death worrying about if you're gonna die. Go out, live your life to the fullest. And that wasn't in 1993, but like 10 years later, so like 1992, okay, I'm telling my age now. My son thinks I was born in 1983, though. We'll keep that a secret. So, but in 1992, I had a relapse. And with an aneurysm, your left side of your brain controls your right side. I became paralyzed in my left side. I started to have a Charlie horse, and I had a stroke. And when I was 12, like I said, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I mean, it was hard for my parents. My dad was a bus driver, and I remember, I'm sorry, it's, when I got on the bus that day, I told my dad, I said, Dad, I have a Charlie horse. He's like, get the hell in school, because I was the kind of a boy that played woof, So he said, get in that school. He says, you're not taking off another day. So I was like, all right. So I went into school, and sorry about this.
No, it's okay.
during like third period, I started to like have a stroke. My mouth started to draw down, and I called my mom because my mom was a little softer than my dad. And so the nurse said, "Mrs. Griffith, I think something's really wrong with Darin," because, granted, I did play wolf, had my grandmother come pick me up from school, then we go to the movies. That's how old kids do, I guess, back in the 80s here. But then after that, when I got home, I had to go to sleep. My parents didn't know what was wrong, and I became paralyzed. And I was paralyzed, and they took me to the hospital in Hagerstown, and Dr. Carey said, "We're not operating on you because I don't know what this is, or this is bigger than me." So got to ride in a helicopter and they flew me down to Baltimore, and they flew in it's weird, I know the doctors' names. They flew a doctor in from Texas, Dr. Epstein, and another doctor named Dr. De Bruyne from France. And they did a lot of tests and stuff, and they said, "This kid has an aneurysm, a brain aneurysm." And what that is on your blood vessels, it starts to grow out like this. It's like an inner tube. I'm going back to my 12-year-old self, the way because they told me, and then they have to put metal clips on it to kind of kill it. It was too wide. So in 1983, they injected balloons into my carotid artery. First person to ever have that. I'm in the record books there. And so they put the balloons in my carotid artery to help this shrink. And my parents basically, they kind of let me make my own decisions, like, well, what are you going to do? And I was like, well, let's do it, So we did this, and thank God I'm here, And then like in 1992 to 1994, I don't know what year it was, I had a relapse, and I started to feel the same way. And the doctor said, "Don't die a second death. Go live your life to the fullest. You have 10 years to live." And I am like, what? And so, and that's when the new Darin was born. Crazy hair, earrings. Thank you, Kip Winger, because I wouldn't have earrings if I didn't see you perform here with Winger. I tell you, ever since then, that's the whole me now,
That's an amazing story, and I'm so glad you shared that. But I can't help but think that, first of all, I want to know, why did he tell you 10 years? I mean, what made him say that?
Well, he said that because every year, something about the blood will keep pushing into your blood vessels in your brain, and that aneurysm's going to keep, because the clip didn't work, and the balloons and stuff, that's like, that disintegrates and stuff like that. So it just like he told me I couldn't get my blood pressure up or anything, because you don't want to put pressure on that and then have it relapse and get bigger and bigger and then pop. Because I tell you, if it pops, you're done.
So did you have a second surgery? Did you have to go back in?
No.
Okay, so now the second part is you became yourself. So you kind of just let it all go, but it took that for you to become who you are. But I think it's really relevant to all of us that we're all put on this facade, this mask that we live behind, right? You became yourself, and here we are, almost 20 years later?
Absolutely.
And
27 years.
Okay, thank God. Yeah, 27 years. So this was in 1990.
92, 93,
okay.
yeah.
Wow.
So after that, I reinvented myself. And it's funny that you said about a mask, because and with the mask, it's like when I worked at the bank here, they said sometimes, like, I'm myself, and I reinvented myself. Wild hair. I had even, like, my hair and my earrings and stuff. Working at a bank is kind of, but I let the way that I worked prove myself. And then they're like, oh, well, there's Darin, crazy Darin. And so after I got ready to leave, because sometimes the mask, like, I took that off and I became myself. And like, and that's the thing about me being myself, and like things that I taught my son. I'm showing my son an example. You can be whoever you want to be. Be a leader, not a follower. And I'm sure that every parent always says that. Be a leader, not a follower. And so with that, then I became free. And I tell you, I went to this motivational speaker, Larry Latimer, and changed my life. Every day I wake up, no matter how bad of a day or you're having, you get up and you say, it's going to be a great day every single day. And your day, no matter if you have turmoil or anything in your life, you still get through it. And I never want anybody of my family to be depressed or anything like that. And so that's me, saying it's going to be a great day. And that's the lessons that I instill in my son too. So hopefully he will instill that into his son later down the line, or much later.
What advice do you have for people that are struggling, young or old, with becoming themselves? It took a health issue for you to really step into your own, it sounds like. What advice do you have for others that may not have that health scare,
right,
to push them?
Well, I tell you, the thing that I like is if you're feeling down or anything, if you say it's going to be a great day, some people hate saying that. But it's okay, because if you say it, you don't have to say it out loud. I mean, there are times where at the beginning I was saying it's going to be a great day. And as soon as I get out of the bed, I run around the house and I'm up and I'm ready to rock and roll here. So, but yeah, just say it's going to be a great day. If you do that, like they say, if like you do it 14 days in a row or something like that, you'll do it every day.
You'll form a habit.
You'll form a habit of doing that here.
And I just love this story because you've created your own reality. And we all have the opportunity to create our own reality. I think most of us grow up thinking that we have to conform, that we have to be someone who we're not, that we have to wear that mask. You're a great living example of creating your own reality. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I sure am, and I'm excited about it, I'm who I am, I'm not afraid I don't pretend to be someone else.
So let's talk about the tattoos. What are the meanings?
Well, so I got the tattoos when we first started developing this TV show. Because
So it's fairly recent.
well, no, probably about 6 years ago.
Okay.
I'd say 6. I mean, I had the first tattoo I got was up here because I wanted to look tough, you know, and but I went and I wanted kind of a side where there was a good and a bad side, like a yin and a yang side. But to be honest, I just want to look like a bad boy, because I'm skinny and, and like I just wanted to rock it up a little bit.
But you say that kind of tongue in cheek. I think you are tough.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. So.
There's not many people that would do what you did to be living the way you are. So in my mind, that makes you tough.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Right.
Are you tough inside?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Remember the saying, don't take my kindness for weakness? There we go. And, you're really, pretend to be weak when you're really strong. And that's me. And I have faith, so I have faith in God, and I'm a big believer, so.
I've posted that quote before. It's a strong quote. And actually, the guest before you, we were talking about the same thing. He was talking about being nice, that he's a nice guy. He worked in New York as a magazine designer, publisher.
Right.
And he treated people nice. But he saw himself rise in his career because of that. So now here we are, and you're basically saying the same thing.
Right.
That you could be tough, but you could still be kind.
Right.
And I think we need more of that in this world.
Absolutely. Kindness. It's okay to say hello to someone. Like, that's how you meet people. I always feel like if I can brighten up someone's day by saying hello to someone, we don't know if we change that person. It's okay to talk to people. I talk to everyone, probably to a fault here, so if we're walking somewhere, I'm like, hey, how are you? I know my stepdaughters hate it sometimes. Like, why are you talking to those people here? But it's great, and I just love making people happy, and if we don't know what they're going through.
That's right.
And if they say, oh, hey, then maybe, well, that person cared.
And in many ways, that type of behavior is infectious. So people see one person doing it, then they'll follow suit. And maybe because you did that on the street to someone, maybe that'll help them think next time.
Right.
And I think there's a ripple effect.
I hope so.
To that.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So I used to hang out at this place in Baltimore called the Angels Rock Bar. And they used to have like fashion shows. It's a rock and roll bar, and they were going to have a fashion show. And what happened was, with the fashion show, the guy backed out of it, and they had no one. And I was like, wait a minute, I'll do it for you for free here. And they were like, awesome. So I came up with this idea. That's where the Paragon Girls came about. So the girls that I gave shirts out to, I started calling them, hey, do you want to do a show for me? We had this show. We had a fashion show. I had guys there. I had girls. We put a lot of money into it. Starting off a business, of course, you put stuff on credit cards, And so I wanted this to be big. I wanted this to be a fashion show that no one would ever see out there, not just walking down, turning around the catwalk and coming back. We had rock and roll, we had fire breathers, we had aerial dancers, and we also had body suspensions. And believe me, when this happened, after we did this show in Baltimore, Paragon blew up. In Baltimore area and the Maryland area, everybody wanted to be a Paragon, and they wanted the shirts too, but it seemed like the Paragon Girls were getting bigger than Paragon here, so, but yeah, that was amazing.
And if you can, just bring us back to that first show that you did. When you describe all of that, give us more detail about that evening, I assume it was, or day. What was it like for you to see that actually come to be?
Well, at Angel Rock Bar, of course, you know, when I started this, we stayed at this hotel. I rented a vehicle, had all the girls in the truck, and you know, I hired the biggest makeup team and everything. Like going out, not really selling your shirts anywhere, but this is actually the first launch of Paragon. So I created shirts like the Firecracker, Dangerous Curves, Paragon Girls, and so we made such a statement when I had the girls in like boy shorts and, you know, and then their outfits, and we had to go to the Angel Rock Bar. They had an elevator, and I tell you, that's when it was really serious, and it really felt really good because I felt like, hey, I made it. And it's only in Baltimore, but I really made it because you're going down and all you heard was this boom, 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 and like you're going up, and it just was so exhilarating. And when that door opened, man, people just, like, usually I stick out in a room, but they didn't even know who I was when 10 of my girls came out of this elevator, and they're all knockouts. And, you know, they came out, and everybody just, like, ran to them. And they were like, oh, hey, are you here? And then we got the red carpet treatment. And I tell you, Roger, nothing like the red carpet treatment here.
How did it make you feel, though? All that work, thought?
It was really good. It made me feel excited. It made me feel like I accomplished something here. And the best thing was, when you're doing something like this, when you can look over and you see your friends from high school that you invited, and you had some other like local celebrities coming there, and you know, sitting there, and you know. And I went all out with it. I mean, we had T-shirt guns and stuff, and we were shooting guns, and the shirts were going out in the crowd. Everyone loved it, and you know, and I was like, I was proud of myself, put it that way. And you know, because I emceed the whole thing, and at the end, we had guys that, like, this one guy named Eden was like, just ripped, and all the women loved him. And you know, he'd wear my shirt. One time he'd come out, the next time he would come out, he would have my shirt as a fanny pack, and I didn't know that we had fanny packs. And then the next time he would come out, he would have a shirt on his head, you know, as a headband. And but I went with it, and people loved it. And I tell you, the last song of the night was Tommy Lee's Get Naked song, and that really set me like, I need to do this for the rest, for as long as I can ride the wave here. And because the girls came out, and they're amazing. I call them the America's Best Built Machines here. That's what I call them. They came out, they tore their shirts off, and they had bikini tops and everything on, but the crowd went wild. So
let me ask you, because there's going to be people listening to this that have different perspectives than others, right? And I think this is a good example of where we could kind of talk about something like this. So many people think, well, you may be exploiting women, where it sounds to me like you're in a different place, where you're actually saying, no, I'm honoring them.
Absolutely.
So can you talk a little bit about that? The difference in thought and people that do think about women being exploited.
Yeah, so, and you know, with the Paragon Girls here, we go out, and I want the girls to go out. There's nothing wrong with beautiful women. And, you know,
Well, and you said it started with the silhouette, right?
Exactly. And it's a model of excellence or perfection. When you put on a Paragon shirt, you feel very confident, and you can, like, I feel like a rock star every time I put on my own shirt, you know, because with the women, when they put on their shirts here, they just feel sexy. And it's about, you know, it's about self-confidence and stuff. Now, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, please, finish your thought.
And like when we went out, I would have my girls go out into the crowd, and they would meet and greet, and they would talk to everyone here. And, you know, and it's not about exploiting women at all. They're sexy, and, you know, with the t-shirts here, that's, to me, that's not exploiting the girls. They're just showing their sexiness. And then other people say, wow, I can look like this too. But when you're doing a show, there is a, let me see, there is a, you know, a factor that you have to go above, and sometimes it has to be over the top. And that's the way I did my first show. Now, the first show was a little rough, but I'll always remember that show from here on now.
And like anything, the more you do something, the better you get. You refine.
Exactly.
You don't make the same mistakes. And
right.
So continue on with the timing of this. So then when's the next show?
Okay, so the next show is, well, we first got, probably about a month later, Mickey Coachella from 98 Rock in Baltimore. He did a show called, I forget what it was called. It was a little local show here. And they invited the Paragon Girls on because we made a big splash. And so we went there, and that's where I met John Allen from Charm City Devils. He's lead singer from he's a lead singer for Charm City Devils. He played drums for the 80s band Child's Play, and then SR-71, Charm City Devils, and now he's with Stone Horses. I met him there, and he's like, the girls, first they did their show and everything, and it was just about how the show and everything went. But John Allen really helped me because he's like, dude, we need to get together because I love your girls. They're very sexy and they're fun. So with John Allen, he says, hey, you should go on tour with us. Like when we do a tour, I'd love for the girls to maybe come up on stage, do some parts up on stage, maybe dance up on stage, and you know, and I'll let you sell your shirts there. Boom. And I said, look, dude, I'll be your merch man here. So, and the great thing was with John Allen is we started to, like we did a show at Rams Head Live in Baltimore. And now we're just doing local stuff right now because we're small, we're learning how to do everything. But we did this, and I got with my friend Kelly, and he actually helped me build cages for the show here. So we went and got these wrought iron cages. It's like, I did it old school, welding and everything. They were 4 foot by 7 foot. I mean, they weighed probably 280 pounds here. And so they were doing a show, and their rock band, it's, you know, Baltimore rock. It's heavy rock band. So we had 2 cages on there, and I had so many ideas because I'm like thinking, oh, well, we could do metal corsets, call them grinder girls, like David Letterman had grinder girls on his show. And I was like, you know what? I'll borrow that here. It doesn't matter. I'll even have them wear goggles. It'll be great. And so what we did is we did this show, and I got to use my cages finally. 280 pounds on each one here. So we brought them in on a dolly, And it takes 3 of us to lift them up on stage. So we had them on both sides of the stage. The great thing is John Allen is rocking my shirt, my Paragon shirt on stage.
Okay.
And so I had that shirt, and the girls, the Paragon girls, on both sides of the stage had a different shirt on. One is a knockout shirt. And like, remember when I told you that my shirts had have a meaning?
Yes.
Every shirt that I do, there's a meaning behind it, and like I'm like inspired by people. Well, one of the girls inspired me to do a knockout shirt, and it's it could mean a couple different things. Knockout is gorgeous, and then it had boxing gloves on it. So one of my girls would wear that. They would wear boy shorts. They would be in the one cage over there, and then on the other side, there's like one of the shirts is called Pretty Little Liar. So one of them had one on the other cage, they had that as well. So they're dancing there. People love it. And it's not, people love the girls dancing because it brings another aspect instead of just guys on stage dancing. The girls loved it. I mean, like the girls out in the audience had no problem with it, and we just had a great time. And John Allen gave me the opportunity, like during the set breaks and stuff, to have a fashion show, on stage. So I would go up there and I'd have each of the girls come out and twirl around and show the shirts and stuff.
This is really unique. Like this is something I've never heard of. You're an out-of-the-box thinker,
right?
And you made things happen.
It's called it's called you don't have any money to do this, and you make it. You push and you try to do it any way possible here. And I tell you, the great thing about this is with this, when we met with John Allen and I start doing this stuff with their band and stuff, my girls would go out in the audience and talk to everybody. We'd have 7-foot pictures of each of the girls that are there, draped on the sides of the stage or up on the rafters and stuff. So people would see them.
They almost become a celebrity,
right,
and then are able to talk to them.
And then they come out, and there are people that are afraid to talk to anybody, especially like a gorgeous girl. And so they go out in there and they start talking to them. Wow, hey, do you want a temporary tattoo with Paragon on it? They can be intoxicated, they can, but they're always going to remember where they got that tattoo at.
Right.
And, but yeah, it went over great. And I tell you, funny story here real quick. And this was kind of the funny part. I came out and I had the honor of introducing the band. And one of my girls that was in the one cage, her father came down from Pine Grove, and he's standing there. He didn't know where to stand. And she comes out and she's, dancing in one of the cages. And she's like, Dad, what are you doing here? Go over to the other side of the cage there. And go over to the other girl, go over to her cage. He's like, well, I didn't know what to do. And everybody just laughed about it. Because that's what we do. We don't hold ourselves too serious.
Right.
I mean, we have fun. And it's all about fun. And it's about the rock music.
So what time period is this now, where you're talking about?
2010.
Okay. And so what's the journey from there? Are you still working at the bank at that time?
No.
Okay. When did you I'm interested when you made that move, because that's a bold move.
Right. I know, especially making good money. And then, because you get burned out. I was at this bank for 13 years. And I loved it. I loved what I do because I always have fun no matter what I do. I just decided to leave and say, look, I'm ready for a change. And so I decided to do Paragon full time. you know? And it's crazy because I was looking at one of my boxes that I had from there, I had in storage, and I would draw the Paragon logo on there. And then I'd have like, I did a belt buckle. And so I had it all sketched out on a pad. And you always hear about people doing that because I always keep things up in my brain. And but I did sketch it out, and at that time I knew I'm out of here. And it's hard, trust me. You know, it's either if you sell a lot of shirts, you're great for a month or two, but if you're not selling anything, it's, you know, and especially when you have a son. I was a single dad, and raising my son as well, it's tough, but you know, thank God I made it through here. You know?
And let's talk about your son. I know you have a very special relationship.
I do.
Talk about it. Why?
Gunnar, okay. And actually, Gunnar, I have to thank Gunnar because he is such a special kid. When his mother and I divorced in 2007, I always taught him to lead, don't follow. And, you know, and to be his own self, not to get in, not to be a part of the in crowd. Isn't there a song, something about the in crowd? And I always tease him, you don't want to do that. You want to do you. And he did it. Now, granted, he's 8 at the time. And then I started Paragon too. I was still working at the bank. So with Gunnar, I was like, hey, dude, do you want to go to a concert here? And so we went to the York Fair, and we saw Drowning Pool, Hailstorm, and Charm City Devils.
And how old was he?
He was 8.
Okay.
So his mother is cringing at home. So, but we were out there, and all of a sudden, he says, Dad, because he's thinking for me. He's like, Dad, look at that girl. He's like, look at that girl up in the front. He says, she could be a Paragon girl for you. And I was like, who are you talking about? And he goes, that girl up there. He goes, I'll go up and talk to her for you. And I was like, no, Gunnar. And he started going up there. And it was Samantha. Samantha Allison is like my original Paragon girl, you know, and I have to thank my son for that, you know. And then I have Angie as one of my Paragon girls that actually went to the York Fair with us. And so when Gunnar went up to Samantha, and then I was right behind her, so it looked like I was trying to hit on her, and she was like 21 or 22, like, who's this old guy trying to hit on me? And then I explained to her, and she goes, well, give me your number, I'll call you. And so all of a sudden, you know, and now she is part of the Paragon family. And but just to see my son out there at his first rock concert, you know, he's shaking his hands going like, and it just melted my heart here. And
look, for a young boy like that, I mean, I'm sure it made a pretty major impact on his life, right? Even to today.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He, so I got the bright idea. Oh, people love kids. Let's throw Gunnar into a Paragon video. So I would do this. I did this video. It's like People So Strange. And so Gunnar, his hidden talent at 8 years old, I might add, he could put a fork on his nose and he would be called like Magnet Boy because it would stay there. And so he did that. He introduced the videos for me of like our photo shoots and stuff that we did. We put it a collage and we put it to rock music. And But yeah, it's
And how
great.
fun is that,
It's-
that you're able to share this with him?
Oh.
And how old is he now? About 18?
18,
Yeah.
18, yeah.
And what's the relationship like today?
Oh, he's still bringing it. He's still doing it for me here too. He supports my clothes. He rocks my clothes all the time. And like when he sees someone that would be good to help promote Paragon and stuff, he lets me know.
He's your best spokesperson.
Yes, he is, and he toots my own horn for me. So he actually is now, yeah, he has a couple friends that he's like, hey Dad, what about this person or what about this person, and and I'll be like, yeah, let's do it. So he's my talent relations. He helps me with that.
So cool. No, and I could relate because I actually, when Michael Leonard, who's our producer, is not available,
Right.
I'll take my son.
Right.
So he's gone to LA with me. He's gone to Charlotte. He's been to all these different cities, and we travel together. And it, there's that special bond when you're, you're doing work, but you're actually teaching them in the process, showing
Right.
them real life. They're able to meet people. So I could totally relate to the situation, and I think it's wonderful for parents to include their kids, especially when you're your own boss, to
Right.
be able to allow that.
Yeah, and I mean, he comes up with some shirt ideas. Sometimes they're not the best, but like someone's wearing a shirt that he helped design. He helped design my rock and roll center shirt, and and he wears that thing all the time because he's proud of it. So that
great.
makes me very, very happy.
So I know some of the major shows. You went to Arizona. You were in San Diego. When, just again, time perspective now. How long does this continue with John?
So John Allen, through with like all the Baltimore shows and stuff, and like the local shows in my area, we did that up until like 2014, and then Charm City Devils have taken a break now, and I've kind of taken back just a little bit from the shows because I'm working on other things here, like shows in Arizona and also San Diego here. Like the show in San Diego was right after the show in Baltimore, and that was like 2011, I would say. And so I have to say, a person that has really been supporting my shirts was Shyla Stiles. She got on the bandwagon at the beginning. Like in her IBDM, she's wearing my shirt, my gangsta shirt that I did there. And this girl was so sweet, so nice. When she was in Baltimore, she actually came to my house. We had dinner with my mom because remember I was single, and I just moved out of my old house that I was living in, and I was staying with my mom until I got another house. Being a single dad, it's tough, and so my mom got to meet her too. And it's not about what people do; it's about what's in their heart and how they are. And I'm telling you what, this girl was so amazing. When you're dealing with like celebrities and stuff like that, that you want to bring a crowd in, I had one girl from the Rock of Love. We won't bring her name up, but she was like $750 for 2 hours, so I was like, okay, well, we'll do that because Rock of Love was really big then. And, I think it was off the air for like 2 years, but, they still go around. When you're in a reality show, you're upwards of $1,000, for 2 hours of work, and even up further. And then I said, hey, Shyla, her real name is Amanda. Amanda is like, oh yeah, I would love to do that. You know, I would love to come down there, and here's my fee. And it was a little more expensive, but you know, I'm thinking about how this will help my brand. And so I said, well, I'm gonna fly you in here. And she goes, oh no, I'll just, you know, come down to San Diego. I always wanna take the train or something. And I was like, wow, well, how much is that? I'll pay for it to come down. She goes, no, don't worry. And so we get there, and she's driving a Bentley. I was like, oh my gosh. So the promoter that I had promoting this was not the best. And when we got there, everything was like, my street teams were not working, and, you know, again, putting money on credit cards and putting money where you don't have it, you know, and you're trying to build your brand because, you know, that one big break, if you have a good show, if the door is really great, you know, it's going to be awesome. So we go to this, I forget what the club was named, but anyway, we went to the club. At first we went in there, there was no one there. And I had one of my Paragon girls, Amber, with me. I had Amanda, or Shyla, and I had this girl from Rock of Love there. And it was terrible. I mean, there was no one there. And then, so it was like, where's the door person? And well, you're gonna have to pay us to do it. So I had to get one of my people to work the door. And yeah, the promoter kind of took advantage of me there. And you can probably tell I don't use this promoter anymore. So as the night goes on, we're still staying there because, you know, we rented this place out, and no one comes. And then all of a sudden, there were a few people that were coming. But Shyla was amazing. She was there and she was talking. She was like basically hawking my shirts out, and people were buying them. And the thing that I liked is she brought some of her merch with her to sell, and she was pushing my merch for me. And at the end of the night, you know, she says, look, I don't want you to pay me for this because I know you were taken advantage of, but I want to be a part of Paragon. I want to be one of the girls that, you know, when you talk about Paragon, they know it's me, you know. And I said, deal, you know. And she was very loyal to me. And like last year, unfortunately, she passed away.
Oh, sorry.
Due to a drug overdose.
Oh, boy.
And it's terrible, you know. But I tell you what, that girl was so amazing to me, you know, not knowing who I am and stuff. And she takes a chance with me about my shirts and stuff. And she rocked my shirts everywhere.
You talked about getting that one break.
Right.
Did you get that break?
I think I did, but I think it was the first show I ever did, you know, in Baltimore at Angel Rock Bar. You know, Tony D'Angelo gave me a break. He was the manager at Angel Rock Bar. And after that, my fan base has grown so much. And it's all by word of mouth. And people love me, you know, there, you know, with the shirts. They love the shirts. And the Paragon Girls, too.
So let's talk about the designs, the quality. It seems like you put a lot of thought, a lot of effort. Are you the sole designer? Do you have other designers?
I'm the one that comes up with the ideas. I do have a designer in California. His name's Anthony Creek. He's awesome. He's the one that manufactures my shirts for me now.
And where does that happen?
In Fowler, California.
So they're actually making the shirt for you?
Correct.
Your own
Yes.
colors, your own cuts?
Right. And he prints them out, and he gets them all, he designs them for me, like if there's any tweaking or anything like that. Sometimes, like I was saying, I get my inspiration from, like, when I was little, my parents would, or my grandparents would say, "Oh, you're a little firecracker," or "You're a sharpshooter," you know? And that to me is like, I always remember that. And I just, I guess it's like a thank you to my, that's a good memory for me, because growing up was not the best. I mean, I have loving parents and stuff, but we weren't rich, So when with the firecracker shirt, my grandmother would always say, "Oh, you're a little firecracker, get in the house," or something like that.
So that was the inspiration.
Yes, so that was the inspiration. And like when we would go out and we would like shoot BB guns or something, I was really good. And my grandfather or my dad would say, "Hey, you're a pretty good sharpshooter." Another inspiration, So the inspirations come from like my personal experiences or the girls. One of like the knockout shirt my inspiration for that was Crystal Milana, who was a Playboy playmate or Playboy model, and one of the best girls you would ever meet. She's awesome. And so she helped inspire some shirts. There's so many people that help me inspire shirts. My fiance, my son, everybody.
And is it a continual process? Like, how often are you coming up with new designs? And my other question is this an online business at this point? Where are the sales coming from?
Mostly online here. I do have some stores. My biggest sale was in Norway, of all places here. They love me in Norway here. But yeah, so a lot of little boutiques all over the U.S. And mainly online. Of course, when you sell to a boutique, you're only making like $2 a shirt.
So it's more of a wholesale
situation. It's a wholesale situation. Where online, I don't mark my shirts up. I try to have the best quality of the shirts that I have here, because, if I don't like the shirts, I know other people won't like the shirts as well. I do have a designer also in California as well. He's in Fowler as well. He also helps me design. Like, I'll give him my ideas and he'll put them on paper, and then I give him the A-OK.
Earlier you talked a lot about building a brand.
Right.
And what's involved with that. Talk a little bit more about the importance of building a brand and the attention that you pay to that and the detail of it, because it's not easy to build a brand, right?
No, it's not easy at all. With Paragon here, I started, and promotion to help me build a brand, to help me get my name out there. Like I said earlier, I give a lot of shirts away for free here. I have a lot of celebrity support right now. And, if you can get celebrities to rock your shirts, people will see them wearing them. Where do you get that shirt? And that's my key, is getting celebrities to rock the shirts, and then I can put them on my site here.
So would you recommend that for people who are looking to build
absolutely. A brand? I tell you, especially if you don't have money to do it, where you get shirts and then you reach out to them and you talk to them. Now, I had an in because of John Allen, because when we go do shows with him, then we meet other bands like Sweet Cyanide, Theory of a Dead Man, everyone that he tours with, everyone that they tour with, you get to meet and say, "Hey, you want to rock my shirt?" And then they'll rock their shirt, and then they'll be like, "Hey, where'd you get that shirt at?" And then you're in. And I always like to tease with everybody, hey, if you own a t-shirt company, and if it's like something that like a rock star would wear, you're in. And I tell you, knock on wood, I'm in right now. So
I could just tell by your expression how much you love what you do.
oh, absolutely. I mean, I am 24/7 Paragon here, you know? It's so proud when you have people wearing your shirts here. Now, I have to gloat a little bit here because when you think of rock bands and stuff, you think of vixens, like rock star vixens, like video vixens, I should say. Two girls usually come to mind. Tawny Katane on the Jaguar of Here We Go Again, Whitesnake, and Bobby Brown from Warrant, Cherry Pie. Well, I reached out to Bobby Brown, and she loved my shirts. She said, yeah, I'll rock them. So I sent her some shirts. And the great thing is, when we come to California, she's going to come to our show and be a part of our show here for me. So
Is that coming up?
that'll be in August, September.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'd have to ask TJ about that. So,
But so you're still in this mode of constant promotion, building your brand. It never stops, right? If anything, it only escalates.
yeah, I tell you, and it's hard because I do it unorthodox. Like most people would go to trade shows, and they would promote their shirts and stuff that way to get people to go into the stores and stuff. That, you know, when you go to a trade show, like you'll have a buyer come up, hey, I love your shirts. We want to get them in our stores, Macy's. That would be awesome, you know, or, Dillard's or whatever store, you know. I don't do that.
Your choice.
My choice right now. I never say never, though, because, you know, my goal for Paragon is to have Paragon everywhere. But it's a lifestyle. It's not just a brand to me, you know. People that wear my shirts, it's a lifestyle. You know, they feel Paragon. They feel like a model of excellence.
What can you compare your brand to that's out in the mainstream that the average person might know as far as the feeling? Because I know with certain clothes, I know what you mean when you put that shirt on, or, you know, just psychologically, it plays into your confidence.
Right.
Is there any, you know, like even when you were growing up, was there anything that you wore that, you know, whether it was Levi jeans or who knows what it was that made you feel that way?
I really like Travis Barker's line, Famous Stars and Straps. That was really good. You know, his T-shirts, it's huge. I mean, you know, just to see, you know, when people are wearing this Famous shirt, they love it. They think it's awesome. You know, the big F on your shirt here. Sneakers that I'm wearing right now, Sean John sneakers. I feel good with these on, you know? And like you just feel your confidence builds when you wear a brand that you really like. And so like that's what I do with Paragon. I've had so many people, I have a lot of repeat customers, you know, that love my shirts, and it makes them feel sexy. And there's nothing wrong with that at all.
And is it quality or is it psychological? What is it?
It's quality, and I think it's the way the shirts that I get fit, like say for the girls, it fits all in the right places here. And
So you're actually, in addition to the design of the whatever is printed,
right,
you're designing the actual style, if you will.
right. And
the shirt.
and especially like with the placement and everything of the design and the different
So that all
designs
plays
and stuff.
into it.
Yeah, so it all plays into it. I feel very proud of a brand that I built here. We're not super huge right now. However, we're going to be there. I know that for a fact.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it because you have so much passion. And look, I mean, our show, we're not about promoting companies per se, but this is more about your story to me, that here you are, single dad,
Right.
working at a bank, put a lot of hard work into that, but you were doing the drawings, you were designing things, you had this in the back of your mind that this is what you wanted to do. You made it happen, and not only that, here we are, how many years later, and now you're living it, right?
Yes.
But you're saying you still need to get to that next level.
Right. And like, if I make it, everybody will be like, oh, look, this is a overnight success company here. It's not. It's 11 years. And believe me, if you would ask my fiance, it's a long road here. So
I understand you may have a television show in development.
oh, yes.
Can you talk about that?
Yes, I can. Working with Access Entertainment, we have a development deal with a major network right now. I tell you what, Roger, if you want, it's going to be fun. This is a feel-good show. It's about my company, of course, and the unorthodox way that I run my business. I'll give you a little teaser of this. So anywhere we go, like whatever we do, like an event that we do, let's say rodeo, okay? You're like, rodeo? That's country. Granted, it is country, but we would design a shirt for the event that we go to. So with the show, it's about Paragon, me, the unorthodox way I do business here.
Is it a reality show?
Yes. It's more of a tongue-in-cheek. We don't hold ourselves too serious. You know, it's a feel-good show. You know, we want to make people laugh. We want to make people feel good. To be honest, I want people, like, I love Duck Dynasty, you know, because the whole family can sit and watch the show.
Right.
So I'll give you a little taste of what we would do. So one of our shows is where we go to a rodeo, okay? And with the rodeo here, like every event that we go to, we will design a shirt and we'll do meet and greets and have a booth up where we will have that shirt that we set aside for them for the show, like the world's most dangerous playground is what I did. And then like the cowgirl shirt that we were doing here. The world's most dangerous playground. Do you know what that is?
No.
Rodeo bull riding.
Okay.
I'm telling you, craziest people ever. And I tell you, and they work their butt off.
Sounds
to
dangerous.
ride a bull. Well, so I get the bright idea to, they said, hey, Darren, do you want to play bull hockey? And I was like, well, hey, I'm half Canadian. I'll do it. So we went out, we got a shirt, bullseye shirt from Target. And I had a hockey stick. I'm all ready to go out. And they go, no, that's not the way we do it. So, and they were kind of making fun of me. And so we took the hockey stick, threw that to a side. They stuck me out in the middle of the rodeo, the ring, you know, where I don't know what they call it, but so I'm with real cowboys here with real boots and stuff, and I have my cool looking boots on, my earrings, and my ripped jeans. I look cool. They gave me a flap jacket, you know, a vest, a protective vest, and I was like, what do I need this for? And then they explained to me what bull hockey is, where the humans are the pucks. So, so what they do is they have the the chutes where the bulls come out of, and there's 2 hockey rings, two hockey goals. And if you get the bull, if the bull crosses into the goal, the team at the end of like 5 minutes gets $250 to split between all 3 people. So I'm like, okay. And they're like really like, I got this. I can do this, you know? Because I'm like the world's greatest athlete. I tell them, you know? Yeah, I signed the waiver and everything. And they said, are you sure you want to wear that shirt? I said, yeah, absolutely. So they open the chute. The bull comes straight at me. And, you know, I always pride myself on cat-like reflexes. It didn't work because I slipped. The bull hits me, picks me up in the air, and then runs right over the top of me here. But I tell you what, so much adrenaline, and I got right back up, and I was like, yes! Yeah. And it's like, I'm not dead. But it's like you're scared, but when it hits you, I mean, I'm getting hit by a Mexican 2,500-pound bull. Hits me square in the chest, and then I go down, and he sticks his horns in my chest and runs right over me. Oh my gosh.
Were you hurt? Were you injured at all?
No. I mean, what's a couple ribs? But I'll get to that in a second. But I jumped up, and I finished playing it. We did not win. We lost by 1 goal. But
And this is part of the show?
yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
So then at the intermission, so I get this bright idea. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have the Paragon Girls ride ostriches. You know, because if you've ever been to a rodeo, and if you haven't, we got to take you to one.
Okay.
So they have like mutton busting where they put kids on sheep. I always wanted to do that with Gunnar, but he came out like already 3 foot tall, you know? But so what they do is they put people on the ostriches, and it's a laugh a minute here. And my girls, the Paragon Girls, they're okay with making fun of themselves. If you want to be a Paragon Girl, you have to be okay with making fun of yourself, because believe me, I do it all the time. So they get on the ostriches, 5 of them, and you know, they're like, oh, what do we do? What do we do? We get them on there, and then they pull the chutes. The last one that gets out, the last one that falls down, wins $250 from the rodeo. Woohoo!
That's great. That's great. It sounds fun.
So then I decide that, you know what? World's most dangerous playground, I can ride a bull. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to try this. You know, kids, you know, these kids are like 22 years old riding bulls and stuff. And I tell you, they are the toughest guys out there. Like any sports, put Michael Jordan on a rodeo bull.
Good luck, right?
Yeah. And, but these guys are like, and I'm sorry to go off on a tangent here. The guys are like ripping their shoulders out, but they still get up. They put a brace on their arm that actually has a metal piece that goes across there that has their arm because they dislocated their shoulder. They get out and they do it every day, in and out, each week. And I was like, oh, I got this. So I get my Nicky Six cowboy hat on, because I don't wear hats usually. But I got his cowboy hat, put it on there, nice leopard. And I'm like, all right. And as I'm in the chute, the bull is just kicking its horns are hitting my legs and stuff. I am scared to death. I'm like, this was probably not a good idea here. But as soon as they open it up, I fall right away. But
And this is all filmed?
yes. But the thing is, I tried it.
Yeah.
I broke my fear, and now I'm not scared of anything, you know? So we are gonna go to all these different places. Everywhere we go, we're gonna do shirts, and we'll have our booth there. We'll do meet and greets and stuff. But we're gonna be a part of the shows and stuff. But that's just a taste of my world.
I love it. I love the theme.
So it's fun, and I want people to watch it and like say, oh, what's he gonna get into next week?
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we'll see.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for making the trip here, for sharing your story. If you were to take out your cell phone, call the 20-year-old Darin, what'd you say?
I would say stay on the right path, you know. And it's funny to say this in this day's economy, but money is not everything. You know, do what you enjoy. You know, life, because when I was working the bank, I was killing myself doing the same thing over and over every single day, going to a cubicle, walking down the aisles, seeing if everybody's doing everything right, monitoring calls and stuff. With this, you don't know what tomorrow brings. So I would just say, keep doing what you're doing here and continue to what you're doing here. You know, we're doing a lot of good things here. And I want to do a lot of good things for different causes and stuff. And we have a cause that we're getting ready to break open here, a campaign, a Lead Don't Follow campaign. And that's going to be huge here.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so, and I actually have something that I'm going to give you here in just a
Thank you.
second. So my great publicist, TJ Basham, has been working tirelessly here, helping me with this every day in and out here. So Lead Don't Follow. I had a friend from high school. My fiance and I, we moved into a house here that was a drug house. And we moved in, and they knew that we moved in, and they knew that I did T-shirts. And she reached out to me, a heartfelt letter, where she lost her son to a drug overdose. And she said, hey, will you do a shirt for me? For like something to honor my son, such as like F heroin or something like that. And I put her back. I don't really put curse words on T-shirts and stuff. And so I remember what I instilled into my son, Lead Don't Follow. So we're coming out with this campaign called Lead Don't Follow. I got with my rock and roll friends here, and I'm gonna show you one of the shirts here. I have a whole box of goodies here.
Wow.
All right.
I'm excited.
So this is our first shirt.
Oh, wow.
It's Paragon Lead Don't Follow.
Awesome.
And this is one of the shirts.
Thank you.
This is what I wanted to show you here. Angelo Fariello from Sweet Cyanide from New York. He actually joined up with me to make this shirt, Lead Don't Follow.
That is awesome.
He's actually wearing my shirt on stage
so
here.
great.
You know? So it's a shirt inside of a shirt here, but that's for you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really a great design.
So the rock and roll community, we're done with this. You know, because there's so much politics today where politicians are wanting to, they say they want to help with the opioid addictions, Republicans, Democrats, but nothing's getting done. So I'm taking it upon myself, and I'm teaming up with all my rock and roll friends, all my celebrity friends. We're gonna start doing benefit shows I live in Maryland. I live in and we have Hagerstown, Maryland. We have a pretty big drug epidemic there, where these kids are losing their lives. TJ and I have sons. We don't want Gabe or we don't want Gunnar to get into that issue, you know? I don't want my stepdaughters getting into it. I don't want them to start on drugs. So that's why we got to get it out there. Lead, don't follow, be yourself. And so my rock and roll friends, we're gonna start doing benefits. We're gonna get big name bands. We're gonna go around to different areas. Like if they're in an area, so all the money that we raise for, let's say my area here, we have a place called Brooks House that deal with women who are like addicted to drugs in their rehabilitation, and they're trying to get back on the right path. They're a nonprofit organization. So I want to help raise money for them. So we're going to do a benefit concert. All the proceeds, everything goes to that local treatment center here. Some of the proceeds for the shirts, because it does cost to make shirts here, some of the proceeds to the shirts are going directly so like if someone goes onto my site and buys a shirt, when we get it all set up, they'll be able to pick like where they're at. So if they're in California, we'll have a local place in California that will donate money to it.
Awesome.
But I tell you what, I have to give it up to all these rockers. You know, who would thought that like Angelo would say, yeah, go ahead and do this. That's awesome.
Because they care and they're good people.
Yeah, and you know, and some of them have had addictions,
Sure.
but they got it back and they know their life is so much better now.
Yes.
And so I'm very passionate about this because right now we're working on, there's a company in New England that has it's a big company here that we're working with them, and we're gonna bring a benefit concert to them, and we're gonna do it in many cities here. But every city that we do, whatever local place we're at, we will pick a nonprofit organization to give to that, to help sponsor people that can't afford it, because you know insurance won't pay for that,
Right.
or if they do, it's like for 7 days, and you need to be in there at least 28 days.
Yeah.
And we just want to give a message that it's all right you don't have to I think like today kids think like, oh, that guy drives a really nice car and I want to be like him. Well, if he's doing drugs or he's selling drugs, shame on them, first of all. But if they're doing that, we need to get them away from that. And if they're already addicted, we want to help. And so with the lead, don't follow, I mean, I have so much celebrity support with this, all the rockers that are rocking my shirts. You know, we want to get them all together. Like, it'll be different bands in different areas. It all kind of contingent on where they're at the time. But we'll work it all out to where we'll be good to go here. And, you know, we just want to make a difference here.
Well, I know you're going to, and I commend you for that, and I thank you for this. How do people get in touch with you? If I know a lot of people are going to be inspired by your story.
Right.
How do they reach you? What's the best way?
Darin at Darin Scott's Paragon.
Okay.
Or they can go on Facebook, Darin Scott's Paragon.
And we'll put the links in the show notes as well.
Yes, and Instagram, Darin Scott's Paragon, and Twitter is the Paragon Girls.
Excellent.
So,
Excellent.
yes.
Darren, this has been phenomenal. Thank you so much for doing this. One last question before I let you go. I'm not
Okay.
letting you go out of this chair yet.
All right.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Well, I think I would want that. That's a good question here. Self-made, you know? I want to be self-made here. It's a hard road, trust me. I've so many times I felt like going back into the corporate world here, but I just want people to like think, you know what? He helped people, and you know, he's determined. You know, because I'm always determined to make this right and to help push my company into a next level here. And you know what? I love to have every store in America, all around the world, to have Paragon in it.
Awesome. Well, I have a lot of faith in you. And look, I appreciate you doing this. Welcome to the American Real family. I can't wait to sport these shirts. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you.